All right. Sorry if anybody's watching this replay. Sorry. Hi. Hi, everybody. How are you?
Hello.
Hello. Sorry, I was trying to move things around. Okay. I can't see. I'm on my phone. I usually am not. So everything looks different. We're still a little bit early. Okay. How are you, Sabrina?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Oh, I can't hear you very well. Hey, is that Shelby?
It is. I had to go close the door.
I can't see.
I'm back.
I can't see, but I saw you for a second come through.
Closing out a party right now.
Will y'all talk in like a normal volume? Because I don't think I'm hearing you very well.
Can you hear me?
Somebody, like, just talk to me. Shelby, did you say you're closing out a party?
No, I'm not. I think Sabrina said she was closing out a party.
I am.
It's so quiet.
It was not quiet this time in my house last night.
Yeah.
Fallon, do you have any rain at your house yet?
Sorry, my face is all up in the business.
I swear it's not coming. I can't hear you, Fallon. I see you talking, but I'm like, wait a minute, I don't hear anything.
There we go. I think that's better. Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you. I cannot
Yay.
hear Fallon still.
You're sideways though, Candy.
You are sideways.
Dang it. I'm trying to use my phone and like, dang it. Let's see.
Who's listening to New Kids?
Oh, that's me. Sorry. I'm gonna turn it here.
That's awesome. No, leave it on.
I'm fighting with my husband.
Saw them
not
in
fighting.
concert this year.
We're competing. He's listening to New Kids, and I'm trying to do this. So.
I love it. Okay. I'm going to make this work, dang it.
There, they turned it off.
Am I right side now?
Yes.
You are.
At some point that'll probably fall off because it's like barely hanging. Sorry, guys. I thought I would do it from my phone and I forgot to think how differently that would be. I can't even see myself, so hopefully I don't look like it's not just the top of my head or something.
I know I almost did it from my phone because I have stuff to do on the computer, but last time I did it on my phone, I didn't like the way it worked. So I was like, yeah, I'm just going to do it on the computer.
Yeah, I'm not digging it. Like, I'm not digging it on my phone at all.
Yeah.
It's funny. I just see you, Sabrina, so I'll just talk to you.
Hey.
Hey, Monica. What time is it there?
It is 4:30 in the afternoon.
4:30. If y'all don't know, Monica is in Hawaii. Ooh. Monica was my secret Santa this year. Got goodies all the way from Hawaii. It was super sweet.
Kathy is in Hawaii right now, one of my teammates.
Oh, really?
She's hand pollinating corn. I have no idea.
Here, put this on. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my son to window right now. I thought I would. Okay, hold on. I may have to jump off, but I was hoping to listen to some good stuff.
Yeah, speaking of that, I'm going to go ahead and dive in because I know that some of you may not have time to do first grade activity. So I just wanted to chat about something that I think is on a lot of people's minds right now, and it's just like I've heard it several times lately, and it's, oh my gosh, like my business is suffering, like I'm in this dip, like where'd all my customers go? Like people aren't just like coming to me anymore for like sales. And I think a lot of it is because so many of you started at the height of our last season. And so you've only lived through those times that are the really busy times. And I like to call that the push. So I feel like in our business, and I've been doing this, if you don't know, for 5 years, and I feel like we have these, this cycle that goes big push to recuperation, to build, to push again. And I think I was telling Alex Darren earlier today, without those recuperation time and without that time to build, like we would just get completely burnt out. Like, you know how you felt in fall, right? It's busy and it's exhausting. Like, if your business was like that all year round, like we couldn't sustain that. That would just be too hard. So you have to have those times, and you have to learn how to utilize those times best. And you can't let those times get to you, because if you let that voice even a little bit creep in and tell you that, oh, maybe you're not meant to do this, maybe you're not worthy, maybe you're really just not good at this, maybe you just got lucky for those, that last little bit. If you let that creep in just a little bit, then it's going to overtake your mind, because our minds, our brains, they are built for the flight, right? Are built so that if there is a little bit of doubt, a little bit of fear, then like evolution, like get out, like it's the fight or flight, right? And so if we let that creep in just a little bit, then it's going to overtake our brain. So we have to fight against it. And when I tell you these things, I feel like sometimes people think like, oh, it's easy for her. Well, she's this title, or she's has these things, or she doesn't have kids, or whatever. And we all have our things. I was just talking with Lauren Floyd about this yesterday. We all have our things, right? We all have things going on in our lives. Some of those are more public. It's interesting how many people have issues like panic attacks and depression on any level, or losses that they are dealing with, or survivor's guilt even that they're dealing with. And everybody's dealing with something. And that doesn't make it less important, but it helps to know, like, we're all going through something. So kindness is key. But also, if we're all going through something and there's still those people that are highly successful, specifically in this business, then it means they're doing something different. And so I'm going to talk about that for a second. But one of the things that they're doing differently is that they're not letting that doubt, that fear, that, little bit of a downtime, a little bit of a dip, they're not letting that seep in to the brain and tell them that they're not good enough, that they're not meant for this, because you are. You're not only meant for this, you are meant for greatness. You are meant to be successful, and you can be. We all had the same kit. There are people in this Scentsy business that are making $1 million a year. It's not that they just got lucky. It's easy to say, well, she started 10 years ago when the company was on the ground floor. First, we're on the ground floor right now. In 20 years from now, people are going to look back and be like, God, if I just started in 2017 or 2018, when they're like, because we're about to peak, guys. In a business model, if you look at a traditional business model, we're about to peak again. And so they're going to look back and they're saying, if I had just started then. The difference with it is that you have to hold on. You have to hold on through the times that most of you are feeling now. And if you can do that, if you have that persistence, then if you're stubborn, then you're going to find success. I always say, like, I probably should have quit a few times along the way. I was probably spending more than I was making a few times along the way. I probably didn't have the healthiest business a few times along the way. I went through some really hard times. Really mean people, some really bad stuff a few times along the way that I wanted to quit. And thankfully, I didn't, because what's going to happen is a little bit of success that you find along the way is going to compound. Yeah. So I want to talk to you about that for a minute, is this idea of a compound effect. So I'm reading a new book. If you guys don't know, I love reading. We're going to start a book club here really soon, hopefully by next week. But the most successful people in the world read books nonstop. I love reading on Audible because I can do dishes, I can do my morning routine and still listen to bits along the way, and it's just so easy to do. Siri, open Audible, and one button and I'm listening, even if it's just 5 minutes at a time. I have the Miracle Morning Routine, and I just do like 10 minutes of book reading in this like section, and like it's so easy just to push play. So anyway, this book that I'm reading now is called The Compound Effect, and just really touched the surface of it, but I love the idea. The author of it is actually the publisher of Success Magazine. At 18 years old, he had started his own business and was already making $1 million a year. At like 21, he did like a $50 million business. And now at 27 or something, when he wrote that book, he had enough money that he could live on for the rest of his life. So he knows what he's talking about. And the whole idea is, I'm going to read sort of the definition I wrote down today in my own words. So a compound effect appears like overnight success, but in fact, it's small changes made again and again over time. And I'm going to give you an example of this. So, and I want y'all to answer this question. So if somebody said, I will give you a penny that will double every day for 31 days now on January 1st, or I'll give you $3 million now on January 1st. Which one do you want? Do you want the penny that doubles, or do you want the $3 million on day one? Go ahead, answer.
The 3 million right away, because I can't do math, so I
Okay.
don't know what the penny does.
I was thinking the same thing.
All right. So 3 million, 3 million. Who else is on?
I would say the penny.
The penny. Okay. All right. Y'all probably, Shelby, what do you think?
I say the penny.
Okay. Y'all all probably have an inclination that somehow the penny works. You probably don't lie.
On your seat.
So
Put it on.
the idea is that,
Oh,
and this is exactly how Cincy works with a compensation plan too, which is actually pretty damn cool. When I read this today, I was like, it makes a lot of sense in the business world, but it's actually perfectly applicable to our compensation plan. And it's that you start seeing this exponential factor. So it's like every time you move up, it's like your paycheck, you see it a little bit, you see it a little bit, you see it a little bit. And if you give up because you're not seeing it fast enough, that's what happens to most people, right? Most people are like, well, it's either I didn't see success fast enough because I'm seeing what looks like overnight success over here, or I'm not making money fast enough because I'm seeing people making 6 figures over here and I'm not doing it fast enough. Well, let me tell you about this penny. So on day one, one person has $3 million. So Sabrina, you have your 3 million. And let's see, Monica, you have your penny, right, on day one. So Sabrina's feeling pretty good about her $3 million decision, right? Well, on day 5, just 16 cents from the penny. And she still has her 3 million over here. On day 10, so let's see, Monica still just has $5. And there is 3 million still over here. Still looking like a pretty good decision. Even on day 15, halfway through the month, there's still only $163 from that penny. And that $3 million is still halfway looking like the best decision. Well, then that's when you start seeing some exponential things happen. Day 20, it goes to 5,000. Day 25, it goes to 157,000. Then day 28, it goes to 1.3 million. Then the 29th, 2.6 million. Then 5.4 million. Then 10.8 million on the 31st. So you see how, that first 15 days, it's still just still little incremental changes. But then all of a sudden it starts exponentially compounding. And that idea is prevalent throughout business and throughout our business, and it's so incredibly accurate that it's almost laughable. Like today when I thought about that in our compensation plan, it was unreal how I haven't heard that being preached over and over, because it's so incredibly accurate of what you're going to see happen. that's why faith and persistence is so important. And that's why we talk about that so much, because, you know, if on the outside looking in, like if you're still only making X amount or still only seeing these little increments and you're putting all of this time and energy, like, why would you continue to do it? You continue to do it because of this compound factor. So I want you to remember this magic penny, and remember this idea that, you know, you keep that persistence, and you keep having this stubbornness of your business and your faith in what will happen if you keep persisting, and you will have those magic penny results. So that's that compound factor. And I'm sure, like, I am just have just touched the very tip of that book. So I am sure that I'm going to have more sort of nuggets that come from that. One other thing that the author asked in a presentation, again, I watched some YouTube videos on him today too, was he asked the simple question, why aren't you more successful? So if I asked you that right now, like, you know, that puts it in a little bit different of a perspective than just me talking at you or somebody talking at you or telling you what you should be doing. But if you really asked yourself that, why aren't I more successful? Like, what is that answer? That really gets down to the honest truth, doesn't it? It's like, when I ask myself that question, it's like, I have been in the business long enough and have seen it that I have that faith. I know that I'll be making 6 figures. I know that in 10 years from now, I have the possibility to be making $500,000. And I have friends that are making $20,000 paychecks in the fall every month that were only making $2,000, $3,000 paychecks just a couple of years ago. And it's because of that compound factor. It's because, you know, right at that 5-year mark was like the mark that you're like, you know what, I've been like really pushing and I'm still only like at this level. And it's because that's when that compound factor hits. And it's like your reward for being stubborn. It's your reward for pushing through and having that persistence and that consistency. One of my favorite people in this business is, her name is Annette Gervais. She's a superstar director. Tons of energy. She was actually on the Canadian Big Brothers Big Sisters but she is incredible. She was I don't know if there's any anything. She was my partner for the Miracle Morning, like, accountability partner last year. But when she promoted to SSD, she called herself, or her quote was that she is just an essential consultant that never gave up. Like, that's pretty exciting, right? Just to know, like, if I just don't give up, I'm going to be a superstar director and I'm going to be successful. So ask that question to yourself. Why aren't you more successful? Like, I work harder, you know, like, I could work harder. I could be more disciplined. You know, I could have more gratitude. I could reach out more. I could bring more. You know, what are those things? So think about those. Also, we talked about the year cycle, right? Having that push and that recuperation and then that build. And we kind of go in these cycles. And it's the same cycle in our personal business that all businesses see. I think a lot of times we look at our business and we get so sheltered by it, right? That's whenever you start seeing people like freak out that like our websites aren't working perfectly or something. That happens in every single business. That happens with Pottery Barn. That happens with Walmart. I couldn't order my groceries at Walmart for like a week last month, and like, they're freaking Walmart, right? And so we get a little caught up sometimes in our own businesses. So it's good to just know, you know what, if I'm struggling, even if I was, you know, in the corporate world, even if I was doing something else, I'm still going to have those struggles. Like, it's just part of life. And without those hard times, without those struggles, without those dips, then what would the highs be? They wouldn't mean anything. If you were given superstar director, I promise you, it wouldn't mean anything. It would not mean the same as it is going to mean being able to say, like, I went through struggles. I went through hard times. I had to really push. I had to really work. There were times that I wanted to quit. And I'm glad that I didn't. And that's literally the only difference between superstar director. And one other note on that is that I hear so often, and I know people think actually even more often, like, yeah, she's making, you know, $500,000 or she's making $1 million or whatever, because she started 10 years ago or 15 years ago on the ground floor. I promise you, you did not want to start 15 years ago. Because 15 years ago on the ground floor, they were literally coming into that tiny little storage container and they were pouring their own wax for their own customer orders. And then they were writing their order forms on a piece of paper and mailing them by snail mail to Heidi. Heidi would edit those and literally mail those back to them. They like, that's what it looked like 15 years ago. That was a lot more work. They worked a lot harder than we do. And even 10 years ago, you know, like one of the smartest people at home office, her name is Tracy Casey. She's the Canadian country manager. And she was huge in Avon. Like, she was one of those like major celebrities as far as like direct sales go. And Tracy Casey said, you know, she worked hard. She literally would stand on the street corner getting people to try Avon. She was literally taking out an old school phone book and calling people down the list. Like, we don't have to work that hard anymore. And because we don't have to work that hard, we want to somehow work less hard than that, if that makes any sense. It's like the compound effect works the other way too. It's like, well, if we can get a little less hard, then we're going to just try to exponential that. And that's where you start seeing things like, you know, be an overnight success, or, you know, make $1 million overnight, or, you know, lose weight by taking one pill. Like, those things just don't work, right? It's the compound effect that's what works. It's those small decisions every day. And then, you know, that's so applicable in all parts of our life, right? So, you know, this morning, I got up early for my miracle morning routine, and I was going to go to the gym. If you don't know, I had a breast reduction in July, and it's been the hardest recovery. And so I haven't been to the gym for a long time, and I've been sick for 3 weeks. So I was like, I was going to go today, and then there was a couple of things that happened. I was like, I'm just not going to go. And then I remembered this compound effect. And there was another example that was similar to the magic penny that had to do with weight and success. And it wasn't that they woke up that morning and said, okay, from now on, everything has changed. And I feel like that's what we feel like has to happen. I feel like we have to say, okay, I'm all in 100%. And yes, burning the boats, that analogy, that makes some waves, but you don't have to be there if that's not where you're at. You don't have to be at the point where you say, okay, it's all or nothing. Family, you're going to have to deal with it. Like, I'm all in. It doesn't have to be that way. It can be small changes made consistently over time that creates this compound effect. If you think about that, if you cut, in this book, he said that this guy decided he was going to cut 150 calories out of his diet every single day. Simple thing to do. One drink, one extra cup of coffee, one whatever, every single day, you know, for this year. It was a 2-year period. And then another guy bought put a bar in his house and was going to have one extra drink every day. The difference in the calorie count of that was 33 pounds, 33 pounds over like 2-year period because of that compound effect. Well, nobody saw anything for a really long time, but all of a sudden, 2 years in, you see the big difference. And the big difference wasn't 33 pounds. It was 66 pounds difference because friend A, decided to cut out those 150 calories and lost 33. And friend B decided to add those 150, small little tiny changes, insignificant little changes a day. And they gained 33. So 66 pounds difference. That's how the compound effect works. And that's why it's so important with our business. We just have to move. We don't have to say, okay, today is going to be a 6-hour day. And I have a problem with that where I'm like, okay, I need like my entire schedule cleared. I've got to like get some work done. And we as moms, like, that's impossible. That's never going to happen. We have to figure out how to maximize those pockets of time that we have. We have to maximize those 15 minutes of time we have here, 30 minutes of time here, right? Ain't nobody got time for that. We don't have time to just, put aside 3 hours to work our business. That's not what it is. And it's not healthy for you feel like that's an expectation. That's not what I do as a star director. Guarantee there's never a time that I can sit down for 3 hours and work. It's small pockets of time worked consistently. So you just have to be disciplined to do that and know that that compound effect is coming. So just move. And one thing is if you start to move, you're going to want to move more. If you've ever had that experience where you didn't want to exercise, you didn't want to get out and do anything, and you didn't want to, but you made yourself, after about 5 minutes, like, you're more motivated to do it. And after you finish your workout, like, who wants to eat better the whole day? Who wants to, who's like, ooh, maybe I should do an arm workout tonight, or maybe I should do this. That's the idea of just getting started, of just moving. So I just sort of spewed a lot of information at you, and I can't see any of you or even who's on. So was that helpful to anybody? Does anybody have any questions or thoughts on that?
I loved it. I loved it. I like thinking in small increments and doing things little by little. That's what I try to do every day when Sophie goes down for her nap, is when I take my time to do my follow-ups or respond to messages or anything like that. So it's easiest for me with a toddler at home too.
I loved that idea of the magic penny. I feel like that's got to go on my that dream board, just that compound effect, to remember that.
I just took my little 15 minutes and made a vinyl for my pop socket.
Love it. Awesome. Anybody else have any thoughts on that? No. What about that idea of sort of being in a push, recuperation, and build cycle? I can talk about that another second. So, obviously your big fall time will be your push. A lot of us had some recoup time in December, and now we're in that building phase. So what happens is, in February, we're going to have the supersize starter kit month again. So what that means is that anybody that joins in February will get not only the fall and the winter testers and catalogs, but they will also get the spring and the summer testers and catalogs. So they get both. So our two biggest months of recruiting are always August and February, when that supersize kit comes. Also, they just announced today that we're going to have a new incentive period starting on February 1st. So we'll all learn a little bit more about that soon and what that looks like. But that's really exciting. That means that, we have the bigger push in August, or the bigger recruiting month in August, because one of the things that we can say is you get to start on earning, whatever it is, this Mediterranean cruise. So now we will have that in our toolkit to be able to tell our new recruits. So this is the time to build, because if you remember, for example, Fallon and Sue, they joined mid-March last year. So they, I mean, as amazing as we all know that they are, they needed that time to build a lot of you to be able to to make director by the fall, right? To be where they're at now. So we can't think, okay, well, I'm going to wait till fall to recruit, because those recruits aren't going to have you're not going to have time to build them into, those titles. And so that's why now is the time to build. Now should be your biggest recruiting time. It should be the time that you are building your team. And this month, what you should be doing in January is talking it up like crazy. You need to be joining groups. You need to be having conversations. You need to be making connections. You need to be adding people on Facebook as your friends. Like every day you need to be adding somebody, whether that's in a group. You can do easy things. Any of the groups that you're in, you could post something like, hey, thanks for the add to the group, or hey, where's everybody from? That's a really easy one. People love to say, hey, I'm from here. And then you can start making little conversations like, oh, really? You're in Hawaii? I used to live there and love it, or whatever. Or, oh, you're military? Like, we're military too. And you'll find those little connections. And then you can say, gosh, I love connecting with you. I'm going to, friend request you. And then that's whenever you do those things, you connect with them on Facebook. And then because you are all great at branding yourself on Facebook, then they're going to organically see your journey and how you share your business and are going to be interested in that. And I always say, instead of, you see the buy, host, join, I always start with the join. Okay, if you're not going to join, I'll let you host. All right, if you don't want to host, I guess you can buy something. Okay, that's how I always position it, because I truly believe that it's the best opportunity, the most lucrative opportunity in the world. And if I haven't told you this before, I recently interviewed with a university professor of a business college, and her job is to prepare these students to be like CEOs of mega businesses. And she is doing a market research study for the Direct Selling Association. And at the end of the interview, I asked her, so if these kids come in and they're asking, should I be a CEO of a big business, or should I go into direct sales? What do you say? And she said, absolutely, hands down, 100% direct sales. That says something, guys. We are in the right place at the right time. We're on this. There's a tipping point that is coming with direct sales, and thank goodness it hasn't happened. Because once it happens, then everybody's going to jump on the train, right? But we are we are before that rush. We're sort of like the early adopters. People don't know how amazing it is yet, and thank goodness they don't know. So it's our job to share that opportunity. So anyway, I went off on like 4 tangents. I'm like way far down. Like I literally have no idea what I was talking about. I don't know. So yeah, January is the time that we add people on Facebook, we make those connections, and then we are very disciplined and diligent in how we are sharing, how we use Scentsy in our lives and our journey. We're not selling on Facebook. We're sharing how we use it in our everyday lives. We're sharing the real stuff, the messy stuff, the real life stuff. I was just talking with Whitney about this. She is our newest Firefly. Hi, Whitney. I think she's still on. She was on a little bit earlier. She just got her kid in today and went live, which is amazing, right? So yeah, I was just talking with her about that idea too, and how video is so important. But I wanted to remember to tell you guys about that video incentive. So did y'all all see that? Hey, Megan. Keep seeing people join, and I'm like, oh, you missed the like crux of everything, but hopefully you can rewatch. But yeah, so if you, anytime in January, if you post a photo of you and a product, if you post a video, or if you post a live video, you're going to earn points. You also earn points for the most creative post and whatnot. And so when you do that, you're going to earn prizes, and the more participation, the bigger the prizes. Nobody has even entered once yet. Like, not even one person. So first of all, your odds are good. But second of all, I better start seeing some dadgum posts. Whitney, make sure you post a screenshot of your live in the comments of that incentive so we can get you entered in. And I'll have to show y'all. If you haven't seen some of those Grace Adele purses that Scentsy used to have, they are like, they're leather and they're gorgeous. And I have cheetah print in red and a cream and like a brown leather and a purple, like a purple alligator skin print. I have some really cool ones. So there are lots of good prizes up for grabs for that. So
it's really funny. I saw that you were giving away a Grace Adele purse. My purse is literally still Grace Adele, and it's falling apart now because I've had it for like 6 years.
Yeah. Well, it shouldn't be falling apart. It has a lifetime guarantee, which is part of the problem of not having Grace Adele anymore.
Right.
Hey, Candy, where's this incentive at?
It's on the Firefly, on the Firefly page.
I
ain't seen it.
I'm gonna tag you in it right now, Alex.
All right, you tag me in it because I'm about to hop on there real quick. We all know I like my live videos.
Oh, that is. I thought you meant the the February 1st thing for Scentsy.
No, I've been bugging Susan about it all day.
I was like,
Literally all day.
Anything. Yeah, so it's on the page. If you search hashtag
I got it.
incentive, it's there. Yes. So, and hey, Alex, why don't you comment with a GIF or something to help bump that up to the top if you don't mind. And then, if you guys have teams, challenge them, tag them on that incentive, and let's get everybody involved, because video is where it's at. Those stats speak for themselves. It's crazy how much of a difference it makes. And Susan and Fallon will both say that attributed so much to them making director in freaking 4 and 5 months. So January, it's the month that you build those contacts, you make all of those connections, you are on Facebook talking to people, you are giving people samples in stores, you are building those contacts. And then February is that supersized kit month. And so that's whenever you get them all in, right? So that is our building month again. And a new incentive thing starts on February 1st. It's brand new. We've never had this before. So that starts in February. And then March, guys, March is the brand new catalog. So in February, we're going to get to see the peak of all of the brand new catalog stuff, which will include some new product. It will include all of our new scents for the spring and the summer. We'll know what comes back from the spring and the summer. And then in February, that's what we'll also know. We'll know anything that's discontinuing. We'll know any scents that are discontinuing, any products are discontinuing, and so that helps sales too. So February is a big month in sales because everybody gets 10% off pretty much catalog wide. And so it's 10% off on products and also on Scentsy Family Store supplies, so any business supplies. So I try to buy as many dang catalogs as I can buy in February, because 10% saves me a lot of money. And if I can front that in the beginning, then it makes some sense. So that's whenever I like to buy my supplies, is in February. So that's what February is.
Question.
Big month. Yeah.
Will they announce the new products after World Tour?
They haven't said that. So every year they do it a little bit different. They did a big pre-World Tour global unveiling last year online. And And then I don't know if anybody's read anything different, but I think it's just going to be world tour is where we're going to see it. So the first world tour people will see it, or probably what they'll do is upload the new catalog like the night before or the day of the first world tour so that they don't get the advantage. So it's probably what's going to happen, but
Okay.
specifically, but I would guess that that's what they're going to do. So we will see. And of course, I'll be all over posting that. So I'll post a new album with all the images that I can get and of all of the catalog. And so you'll get to flip through that. It's super hard to keep that stuff to yourself. We'll find out if the bath bombs made it in there permanently. We'll find out if there's any new products. We'll find out if something huge is being discontinued. We'll find out all that stuff in February.
Well, all these little live videos they keep doing for World Tour are like, I'm so freaking amped up about this.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the thing is World Tour is probably the best thing that any of you can do for your business at this moment. Going to a Scentsy event, there's nothing that can replicate that. You couldn't be on 10 of these trainings and videos and even come close to replicating the feeling that you get from being at a Scentsy event and seeing Scentsy home office peeps. And I don't know if I should say this, like who all is on. Okay. So if you guys don't know, I'm really close with Jason Harwood. He's my guy. And I was talking with him, I don't know, last week or something. And they like don't tell you where they're going to be, but Jason's going to be in Dallas. So anybody that's going to Dallas, Jason's going to be there. Sorry, that means he won't be in Vegas, Sabrina. Sorry. I wanted to come to Vegas, but it's on the same day as my Dallas one.
I mean, you
So
should
he's
have
not going to
picked
be in,
Vegas.
he's not going to be in Vegas.
No, he won't be in Vegas. But that means that other cool people will be there. So who knows? I mean, Heidi and Orville will show up to somebody's. So maybe they're going to go to Vegas. If I was them, that's the one I would choose.
Heck yes.
So it's always a surprise, which is really a fun part about it. So, and a lot of you have been to a world tour. So, and I forget sometimes how new everybody is and don't understand sort of why your business is having the dip it's having right now. And it's just part of the business process. So for me, I'm like, dude, like you need this time. Like
I feel like I'm pushing harder this month than I have any other month.
Yeah.
Samesies.
You know what? Actually, that's a really good point because you know how I said you have this like this big push and then this little recuperation, and then you have the building period. The building period is also that time where you get back to your basics of the things that you should be doing that came so easy in the fall. Because if you don't have that period, then it's always going to feel like it comes easy, which again, that compound effect working the other way means that all of a sudden you'll just completely stop working your business and it'll dry up. And so if you don't have that building period, then your business is going to dry up. So this period right now is crucial. And you know, the really busy period is important because, you know, it's great for your PRV and all of those things, but it also forces you to make decisions that allow you to be as efficient as possible with your time and your resources. Because if you were, you know, right now, if you were doing a plan for something, like, I don't know, you're like, oh, well, let's do this, and then we'll do this, and we'll do this, and in the fall, you're like, I don't know, I just got to get it done. And so you create some efficiencies in the fall. So every season is super important, and you have to find the value in those seasons, or you're just going to drive yourself crazy, and you're going to quit. Like, that's just going to happen. And we all go through that, you know, the Jennifer Andersons, the Katie Farners, the Megan Clements, the Allison Dalkeys, the people that are making $6 figures to $1 million, they all have those same business dips. It's just part of what we do. And the faster that you can understand that and find value in that time, the better and healthier your business is going to be. And the better you're going to be able to utilize that time. Because, you know, if fast forward to you 5 years down the road, you know that like right now is kind of that period where I'm like, okay, like game on. And it's not game on because I've got sales coming in. It's like game on. Like I got to get these albums on the team page cleaned up, this thing designed. I got to like shore up my customer service thing on this end. I've got to figure out how this is going to work. Like that's when game is on for that building period. And in the fall, I just don't have that kind of resource to have that building period. So find value in this period right now because it's crucial to your business. I really, really promise. And I know it sucks not to get that PRV in. I mean, my paycheck was half of what it was in the September paycheck. I mean, but September, it was amazing, you know? So it wasn't that it did anything wrong or it did anything different. It's just part of what our business does, you know? Like, it's just part of how it works. So, and any small business, again, is going to have that same sort of ebb and flow. You know, again, a lot of times we get too compartmentalized to our Scentsy business. And if we owned, I always say cupcake shop, if we owned a cupcake shop or, you know, maybe it is cupcakes. If we owned a cupcake shop or a cookie shop, yeah, we would have these super high times. We'd have Valentine's Day, and then we have Christmas, you know, we have wedding period, but then we would have those times in between that we got to shore up our spending. We got to like figure out how to be efficient on like, you know, how much we're spending on things. And that's another thing that this period does for your business. I know I talked to some of you that were like, whoa, I was spending a lot of money. And it's because it's easy in the fall. We're like, oh, I'm like banking, I'm rolling in the dough. So I'm gonna buy this stuff on Amazon, and I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get that. And now it's like, oh right, okay, I am not like making all that bukus of money. So I need to figure out how to be more efficient.
I still have level 4 to earn, so I'm pushing pretty hard this month.
Well, those bring back my bars. I mean, Vanilla Suede, sell all of that stuff.
I have 8 parties this month, so.
Oh, yay! I've seen friends do that has been really successful, and I mean, you're probably doing all the things that you can do right now, but get the husband on the boat special. Or one thing my friend Maggie did that was pretty cool a couple of years ago is they did like a dueling husband thing. So it was like, my husband thinks that he can sell more than I can in my own party. So it was like, are you team Maggie? Or are you team Matt or whatever? And it was like, they had the hashtags with it. So it was like, and they had the hashtag on her open parties. It's like hashtag Maggie's team, hashtag Matt's team. And then, people would like comment and be like, I ordered for you, Matt, or I ordered for you, Maggie. And they're like, yeah, take that, shove it, you know? And they would live and do these funny things that was kind of cool. So that's something, you know, if you weren't busy enough that you can add in there.
He's been taking his my testers to work with him, and he's been pushing it just as hard as me this month.
Awesome. So. Yeah, if he hasn't already posted something on his timeline, that's a really good one. And then one thing I was talking with Whitney about, it's funny how much of an impact peer reviews can be when they're not the consultant. So one thing you can do that's not sales, it's completely different, is you can incentivize your friends to post on their wall for you. So be like, hey, Sally, I know you love those washer lifts. If you will post a picture and you like your cute mug with those washer lifts and tell people how much you love them, and I will give you whatever it is. I'll send you a free bar, or I'll send you a free circle, or I'll whatever, or I'll give you $10 off, or I'll give you my next half off on some washer whips, whatever you want to do. Because so many times I see those posts that are from non-consultants, and you freaking have like 10 people comment and be like, oh my gosh, I totally need some of those. How do I get some of those? And it's like, bam. And then that's when you put the link. So you have to have a little discipline to not like put it up there at the top, to like wait. You have to be patient, and like then you kind of, pounce.
It's funny because I did that. One of my customers, her husband snuck behind her back and bought her the Stargaze diffuser for Christmas.
Oh.
And she posted on her wall, and then we were all commenting back and forth about it, and I booked a party off of her post.
Awesome. Got to love that. There's magic in that. You can create a business model around that. Create a business model around having brand ambassadors. I did that for the Senti Go. So I was like, if you want to be a Senti Go brand ambassador, I'll send you the Go. All you got to do is collect 10 orders for the Go. And if you do that, then I will give you a free Go and 2 pots. And it's like, because that was the party, right? They got $500 in orders. They gave them $75 in free stuff. It was like, listen, I'm going to let you borrow this. You go live a couple of times. You tell people how freaking awesome it is. You get 10 people to say that they want one. All of a sudden you have a $500 party and you get it for free. Like we're not asking you to give me a kidney. I want to give you free things. It's funny, like sometimes with getting people to host, sometimes you're just like I just really want to give you something for free. Really. No tricks. I'm looking at magazines now. So real quick, like I said, I saw a couple people leave. I don't know how many people's on, but a couple things on the idea of a dream and vision board. There's so much that's been said and been written about this, and it's a topic that you could talk on for an hour. But it basically boils down to like Oprah Winfrey, Bill Gates, like all of the most successful people in the world, they still create these vision boards. So if they do it, then dang it, like it's something I should be doing if I want to be successful. No matter if it seems silly or not, if it seems far-fetched or not, the law of attraction is real. Our mind responds really strongly to visual stimulation, and that visual strengthens that emotional response. And when we have an emotional response, that creates energy that activates the law of attraction. And so many times you can see these crazy, weird examples of people that put like a specific house or boat or car or whatever it is on their vision board. And then they'll like go back through and they'll be like, oh my God, I bought that exact car, or something that don't even realize. And it's because we put that in our brains, and our brains have this incredible power to work behind the scenes to seek out the things that we tell it. So I mean, if we tell our brains we're worthless, we're never going to run into money, we're never going to be as good as this, we're a bad recruiter, I suck at recruiting, then your brain is going to be working overtime back here, making sure that you don't see any opportunities out there that would make that statement be untrue. But if you can fight for what you want, you have to fight your brain sometimes and tell it like, no, absolutely not. I am going to be successful. I will make 6 figures one day. I will go on this incentive trip, whatever it is. Then your brain literally works behind the scenes to make those things happen. And it's not a magical thing. It's not like it magically makes it happen. It opens your eyes to the opportunities that are out there. Okay. It opens and it does subconscious things. I've told you this story before, and I'll tell it real quick, but my whole life I've told y'all this, but my whole life I had this super weird thing about hangers where I always pick the exact number of hangers that I need when I do laundry, and it drives me sort of crazy because it's literally like every freaking time. But what's funny is, again, the compound effect comes into play here, is that the more I tell myself that, the more my brain knows that to be true. And so it's working behind the scenes to make that true. Now, if you haven't heard me say this before, then you're thinking like, yeah, that's really stupid, Candy. Like, I'm hanging up now. Like, you're a little far out there. But after I read this book by Dana Wilde called Mind Aware, I understood what was happening. And what was happening is that behind the scenes, my brain is probably doing something like counting the pieces of clothes as I put them in the washer. And then it's counting them again as I'm putting them into the dryer. And then my mind's eye is counting the hangers as I pick them up. And that is giving me the exact number of hangers. And it's not because I obviously, consciously told my brain to do those things or counted those things, but I made that such a reality to my brain that my brain is making that true. And if that can work on something as silly as stinking hangers, that this has literally been 20 years of my life, that I feel like it's like 95% true, then like how powerful is that? Like, what else can that translate to? That's so insane. And it still does seem out there and seems so weird, but all of the most successful and motivational speakers out there all speak to this, and it's that law of attraction. So that's a little bit of why a vision board is so important. Those visuals are so strong. They create an emotional response that turns into energy that literally manifests that law of attraction. It helps us manifest what we want. And so when you're creating this board, you want to pick pictures and words and things that elicit this feeling that you want to feel. The emotional, again, response is really important. So yeah, you want to have the possessions on there, but you also want to have that feeling, because that's kind of the gap, right? So we can tell our brains like, we will have this, incentive trip, whatever it is. We will have this incentive trip. We will have this incentive trip. That doesn't mean a lot until we have that bridge. And the bridge is the feeling that gives us, right? The feeling is thinking, okay, I can see myself in flipping Italy. I can see myself on this boat. I can see myself like seeing the Colosseum. I can see myself in one of those boats in Venice with them rowing it. Like, I can taste that food. Like, once you get that emotional connection, like, that's where the money is. That's where that bridge happens. And so that's why on your vision board, getting words and pictures that elicit that feeling, that emotional response is so super important. So on your board, you can do those images and words, but you can also put your affirmations on there. So if you have affirmations like, I am great at attracting new potentials to this business, versus I suck at recruiting. I hear that so much. If you have affirmations like that, you can put that on your board too. So, whether you get started on that tonight or not, I really super encourage you to do that. I mean, you can do it with magazines, which is just fun because, I don't know, maybe it's the advertising agency geek in me, or just that I love pretty things, but I love the textile, the tangible cutting and pasting, but you can also do digital boards too. And I think some of you maybe on and Fallon's group did that, and Ariel's too, that digital board workshop. So you can do them digital, but you can do them printed off too. So any questions on those? I feel like I'm on Facebook Live because I can't see anything. Hey, Monica, you're still here.
Yes, I am. I was on mute, so you wouldn't hear my kids.
Oh, okay.
But
well,
Yeah, so one of the things that I never did, and because I guess I'm just like the hobbyist, like I don't have a team, but I always want, I guess my vision is to be a director. And I when those shirts were being printed, the director shirts, I really wanted to buy one as my dream. Like if I would have bought the director shirt when I forgot, shot by the American Hero, whatever. Like when she was printing the director shirts, I wanted so bad to buy one.
Shut up.
I know, to give me that.
I have a Superstar director shirt.
You do? Oh my gosh.
It's
Yeah.
happening
See?
in 2018. I'm putting it out there, and it is happening 2018. We have we have well over the group volume. So anyway, yes, I have a shirt, and you should get yourself one too. But the biggest thing, I mean, I swear the biggest secret, the absolute key to it all, to getting to director, is personally becoming a master recruiter. And it starts with believing that you can be. You know, if you want to be a director, money, like you obviously have to have a team, right? Well, the best way to build, I mean, that's the way you have to build it. It is to recruit, and you have to figure out what it is that makes you not, want to do that, or what's holding you back. You have to figure out what that is, and sometimes it's helpful to talk it out. Sometimes it's helpful to be like, maybe it's this, or maybe it's this, because whenever you're feeling bad and you don't know what it is, but when you talk it out, like you start crying, or you start tearing up at one certain thing, you're like, oh, that was it. That's what's bothering me. Like that can happen when you're out, where you struggle with a certain aspect, like recruiting, and it could be like, oh, I'm scared of this. They make that I am doing this, or like I don't really believe that it's possible myself. Like, oh, is that it? You have to figure out what that is. Then you have to decide, okay, I'm going to be a master recruiter. One of my favorite stories is that Katie Farner, Katie?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I'm sure everybody knows Katie, YouTube superstar, celebrity. She didn't, I think it was, oh gosh, I think it was 6 months. She didn't do anything with her business. She didn't recruit or anything until she went to a Cincy family reunion that just happened to be where she already was with her mom. And then that's where it clicked. And when it clicked, she had to make the conscious decision, I'm going to become the best recruiter possible. And like that's all. Like she wasn't born a great recruiter, right? Nobody's born that. Like she just made the decision. It's so cool that we have that ability to just literally just decide, like, you know what? I'm gonna be this. I'm gonna go learn a new language. I'm going to whatever it is. So that's what you have to decide, and really figure out. It's okay. I have kids. I understand.
No, ow.
Yeah, that's why I was on mute so I could listen. But so I mean, Ariel knows, but I mean, we're paying out of pocket. But I'm going to Cincy family reunion from Hawaii, so we're gonna go because as soon as I found out it'd be in California, it's not too much of a flight to go. It's not gonna cost too much. But so yeah, I mean, as of right now, as long as the military, of course how that works. We're all planning on going, like the whole family will go to California, but I will go to Cincy family reunion. So I hope by then to have, progressed more, not just be obviously the same. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it because I know that the changes that can happen from that.
Yeah. Well, and you have to, you have to really get that head of why you want to be director. What does that mean? What does that mean to you? What does that mean for your family? And what kind of feelings and emotions does that evoke? And then that's what you have to lock on to. When you're like, ooh, I'm afraid to do this, or I don't want to do that. That's what you like lock on to.
Right, yeah.
But I'm so excited you're going to reunion. That's huge.
Yeah,
Is there a world tour in Hawaii? I don't even think of what.
No, there's not. I was kind of bummed, but
That's rough.
yeah. So that's why I'm glad that I signed up for reunion, because I mean, I know it's going to be more there, but yeah, I was kind of bummed when they couldn't come here, because it's harder for us to travel obviously across the ocean.
For sure. It makes a lot of sense. But I understand. Lived in Korea.
Yeah. Yeah.
I completely understand that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I hope that some of that info was helpful.
Oh yes.
Good. Or today.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put you on mute so my kids are.
Okay. All right. It's gonna just show me Monica for a bit until somebody else chats. Anybody else have any questions or need anything? Who else is on at least? Because I can't even see that. Let's see.
I'm still here.
Oh, there's a lot of you on.
Amber's still here.
I just clicked and I saw. Hi, everybody. I wish I could see all your beautiful faces. Well, now I don't know how to go back. Close. Hi, Amber. Now you're just on my screen. That's literally all I see. The whole screen. Hi.
Someone else needs to talk then to put me behind.
Are you signed up for a world tour, Amber?
I am. Yep. Pretty excited. I know Violet's going too.
Violet.
She got signed up, right?
I am. And
Yes.
I was able to figure out how to add a guest after.
Oh, good. Good.
Yay, that's so exciting. So fun. And any of you that are going to world tour and you aren't going with somebody that you know, what I always do is, you don't know, I'm in a really close-knit mastermind group with about 30 Scentsy people. So like, you know, Katie Farner and Jennifer Anderson and Maggie Tinsley and Nay Sexton, like lots of amazing people. And so what we will do is we sort of say, okay, I have this person that's a single going in this place. And then those other 30 will say, oh, I do too. And we'll connect you. And so then you have these people that are, that you can even meet up with before for coffee, and you can go together. Because I know that that can be feel that's a little apprehensive, right? It makes you a little apprehensive. Even for me, that's a pretty extroverted person. I remember my first reunion just being scared to death, just not knowing what to expect, not knowing a soul, because we had lived in Seoul. We had lived in Korea. And so I remember that feeling. So I will connect you with friends that you will know ahead of time, and those people will become, your friends on Facebook, and those people outside of your team that you make those connections with can be the people who really help you along with your journey. That's what's so important, to network within this business too. And it's another reason these events are so good, just to see what other people are doing and have that connection. And again, it doesn't make us feel so compartmentalized to our own little world. We're like, oh, right, other people do this. Like, it's not me, just over here by myself. So I'm so excited for y'all to go.
We have a pretty large group going to Vegas.
Yeah, you do. It's going to be awesome. Woo, woo. Again, I'm so mad I can't go. I was like, yeah, I'm going to just show up in Vegas because it's Vegas. But
yeah,
I am presenting a couple times in a breakout speaker in Dallas. So I can't get out of that one. So, but we've got people going all over, so that's fun. And I know there's some singles out there.
I think we have at least 10 going to
Yeah.
Vegas. We've
Yeah.
got 6 of us in the same hotel room.
Yay! That's so fun.
So
It's like 6-hour drive.
4.5.
4.5. That's not bad. That's not too bad. So you're gonna go up the night before?
Yeah. Taking Fallon's mom mobile.
Fun. That will be the best part of the trip. Will be the drive. Like
It's
that's
gonna be pretty awesome.
all the memories and all of the talking and all the things will get done.
And I've mapped it out that there's a Starbucks on the walk from our hotel to World Tour.
Important things.
Indeed.
Those are the important things. I understand. I need to do that. I need to figure out where this is in Dallas. Who else is here? Who else is, you see, participants? Megan, I haven't seen your beautiful face pop up yet.
Sorry. I had a yoga class at 7 tonight for my own sanity, and then I had to put my kid to bed, and there was lots of screaming, so now I have audio.
Why, like, how come you always look so stinking gorgeous, even with, like, no makeup? You're like, yeah, I just worked out really hard. And like, so,
I did. My husband calls it stretching, so I stretched for an hour.
well,
yeah.
You look beautiful. You look glowing at your stretch.
Yeah.
I worked out today, and like I can already feel like, oh, I'm gonna be sore like literally everywhere.
Yeah, I haven't. This is the first time in like 4 months that I've done anything. So
yeah, it's really almost it's only I don't know, the second time probably since I had my reduction in July. And so, and before that, like I was hardcore, like personal training with like a bodybuilder for 2-3 times a week for like 6 months. So I went from that to doing nothing for 6 months. And so my body's going to totally feel it tomorrow.
yeah, I was hoping it was the old instructor that I used to see before like 6 months ago, but it wasn't her. She was one of the flow instructors. So it's like constant movement and went a little harder than I wanted to today.
Yeah, I hear that. I'm excited for tomorrow. I probably should have done more stretching today than anything.
Yeah.
I'm here. Vanessa, you're on here too. How are you? You can hear me. All right. Hi, Brenda.
Hi.
Hi. Let's see that beautiful little baby. Hi.
We just got home from soccer.
So freaking big.
I
How
know.
grow up so big?
Monday.
What?
One on Monday.
It's ridiculous.
Oh.
It's ridiculous.
Say hi, Kim. Say hi.
Hi, Kim. Hi.
Oh, yeah. Say
Oh, so cute. Oh, so cute.
okay. Okay.
Have you been on for long, Vanessa?
No, we just got back from soccer.
I feel like I know you commented on. I know you commented on post about how you're just feeling kind of in that like dip a little bit, and so if you have time, I think watching that first part of the video is really good, and we can chat about it too, just one-on-one. But basically, just know that it's part of the business. We all are in that sort of dip, and those dips are super important to your business because it's whenever you have that recuperation and that rebuilding time before you have a big push again. So it's important, and the big thing now is the recruiting. So next month we have the supersize kit month, so where they'll get, when they join, they'll get both the fall, winter, and the spring, summer testers and catalogs. Plus, we have this brand new incentive that we've never had before that starts on February 1st. Most everything in the catalog off. And then we'll have the list of all the stuff discontinuing in March that we can put. And so February is a really big month. Plus, we'll know what's going to be in the new spring catalog, so we can use that to sort of like tease people. Like, hey, this new thing is coming to the catalog. I know you've been thinking about joining, and it's a supersized kit month. Here it is. So lots of things happening in February. So this month is the month to make those connections, start having conversations, get really connected and busy on Facebook, like friending people, getting people sort of in your circle, so that February, when you start like shouting from the rooftops about the opportunity, that, people start coming in. Because right now is whenever you want to get them in so that you can grow them, and build your team all the way through next fall. We see a lot of promotions happening like in that April time period because of the new catalog. But so it's like you're build to that, and then you build again to the fall. And so it starts now. I think a lot of people are like, okay, well, I can lay low until the fall starts again. If we wait to the fall, like, we won't have time to build those people that we bring on, or to figure out the people that want to grow into something. And so we have to start now. So that's what January should be. And it does stink to not have as huge of paychecks as we saw through the fall. But like I was saying earlier, everybody sees that. The people who make bukus of money probably see half of what their paycheck was in September. My paycheck was half this month. And it's okay, because I expect that. I know that's going to happen. And it's that dip is important to my business, because I get that time to recuperate and to build, so that I can have a big push again. Because I can't always just have pushes, or we would get exhausted and we get burnt out. We wouldn't have time to create efficiencies in our business. We wouldn't have time to, get reorganized, to get refreshed, to get re-energized. We would just be burnt out. And so this is super important time for your business. So as long as you can embrace that and know that we all are going through it, it's not just you. There's nothing wrong with you. You didn't do anything wrong. Your business isn't drying up. It's just part of the ebb and flow of how a business model goes. Then you'll be good. Knowing what you need to do should be helpful in knowing that you just need to keep pushing and keep building, so that you're ready when the next big push comes. And that's coming pretty fast, because really our next big push won't be in the PRV area. It'll be in, building our team in February, because of the supersized kit, because people line up for the supersized kit month. So there's that in a nutshell.
Fallon's pointing at me. I literally waited for August because I knew that it was a double kit month.
Yep. Yes. I signed up in a double kit month, not on purpose, but I don't know if y'all don't know, I never even tried Scentsy whenever I signed up. Nope. Never even seen it.
Oh my gosh.
So, a friend that she's no longer in the business, she posted, "Hey, I'm putting in a Scentsy order. Does anybody want anything?" And I was like, huh. Signed up on a whim, 9:00 one night, and it takes forever to get things in Korea, and so I didn't get my kit until the hours before the party. So, but because like I'm a marketer and it's what I do, I was like, oh, well, I know how to do this stuff. So I really marketed. I had to borrow product from somebody that I knew used Scentsy, because I had nothing to make samples with, because I never had used it before. You know what a warmer was. And so I borrowed stuff to make samples. And anyway, my kit came like 2-3 hours before my launch party. And so my excitement at that launch party was genuine. I'm like, oh, have you seen this stuff? This is really cool. They're like, yep, that's why we're here. So, and I still remember I had a $2,000 launch party. $2,000 that night.
Wow.
It was insane. And I don't even know what direct sales is. Like, I don't even know what that meant. And so I still remember putting in the orders that night. And then it was like, it was showing me hostess rewards, like all this free stuff. And I'm like, wait. And then I remember reading this guide and I'm like, oh, like I just promoted and I got a pay raise and a charm. And then I get all this free stuff. And then I get the 5% bonus. I'm like, oh, well, this works. It was just, I still remember that feeling of like, how is this even possible? So, and here we are 5 years later. So
just think if I had signed up when I started using it 9 years ago.
Well, you know what I had said about that earlier, 10 years ago, like maybe you wouldn't have done as well as you did now. 10 years ago, it was a lot harder of a business.
That's
10
true.
years ago, we weren't like really online a whole lot. 10 years ago, you wouldn't have been able to use Facebook to build your business. 10 years ago, the workstation was craptastic. Like 10 years ago, I think it was 10 years ago, we had like this mega crash where the entire workstation crashed before Christmas. And it was like people have joked about making a shirt that says, I survived the Christmas of whatever it was. So when you start to think about that, remember those things. And then one of my biggest aha moment ever was at my first reunion that I went to in St. Louis. And I remember whoever it was on stage said something to the effect of, when I said it earlier, but the people in 10 years from now are going to say, oh my God, I wish I would have started 10 years ago. And then I was like, that's me. That's where we're at right now, is we are I wish I had joined 10 years ago when not a whole lot of people knew about this relatively, right? Like 100,000 people, that's all in, a country of, I don't know how many we have. Millions? We're not in billions. I don't know.
A lot.
Like, where's Google? Where's my Google home? But yeah, so we are literally on the ground floor. Avon and Mary Kay, they've been Tupperware. They've been around for 100 years. And we're in year, 15 or whatever. Like, of that, like, holy moly, lucrative, crazy opportunity if we just stick it out. And I said it before, but you're all going to want to quit at one point. You're all going to have that feeling. You're all going to have people be mean to you. You're all going to have dips in your business. You're all going to at one point feel like it's not worth it. You're all at one point going to have, downline that make your life miserable. You're all at one point going to want to quit. But if you're just stubborn enough and just push through and not do what you think that you should, then you will be that 10 years in the future person. So that's that. I didn't do a lot of cutting tonight. I chat too much. Well, when I'm on a computer, I can see everybody else like talking and stuff, but is this offensive to you? That makes me so mad. Like, I don't want to see our nakedness all over this magazine.
I just want to look like that naked.
I mean, well, everybody wants to look like it, but like on the front of Women's Health, like, I don't want to see you freaking naked. Like, you put that in Maxim. Like, no. But I am going to put her on my dream board. I mean, all right, guys.
I have a random question.
Yeah, please.
Do they cycle back to cities like for reunions? Like, since you've been a consultant, have they ever been back to the same city for anything?
For World Tour?
Anything, like the world tours or leaderships or the incentive trips?
Yeah, absolutely. So world tours, you get a lot of repeat cities, just because of the numbers of those, but it's not always the same places. Incentive trips we have. So this year in June, I went to Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic at the Hard Rock Cafe, and they did that incentive 8 years ago or so. And then we did, I did Disney World the year before, 2016, and they had done that one in 2012, so 4 years before. And so we all kind of, and that's a family trip. And so we all kind of expect that they'll do sort of a family trip every 4 years. So we keep like, me and my husband in our own minds, not that we know this to be true, but we keep saying like, okay, in 4 years from 16, so in 2020, we're going to, be earning for Disney again.
Yeah.
And then leadership was actually in the same place at a Moon Palace Resort in Cancun for like 7 years in a row. But and then also for your like Cincy family reunions, I don't remember I don't think they had doubled one of those. But there's a lot of factors to consider. So for family reunion in particular, I was talking with Orville about this in October, but there's not very many cities that we can do it in because it has to have a certain capacity. And then there's a lot of things behind the scenes that we have no idea that they have to deal with.
So I don't know if you know this, but I'm an event management major. I have my bachelor's in it.
Awesome.
So I know all of that,
Yeah.
back end stuff. It was funny. Today I was watching Heidi on Instagram, and she said she was having mic problems. And I was looking around the room, and before I moved out here, I met my husband in New Orleans, and I was working in New Orleans. And I was like, where are they? And so I started looking around, and I know one of the guys that works the AV where they're having leadership right now.
Cool.
So I'm texting him like, what are you doing? Like, get it together. Mic problems.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so I was wondering about that, especially for World Tour because it is so big. But
yeah,
those incentive trips, I'm like low-key hoping that one day it's somewhere in Europe more, like Northern Europe.
Yeah. So the cool thing is that, last year, I love that they changed it up too. So it's like, it's not ever always going to be the same thing. But last year, I earned the top level of the incentive trip, and I could have chosen the Europe trip because, we have Region 3, which is our Australian, New Zealand people. And then we have Region 2, which is our European people. And then we have Region 1, which is US, Canada, and Mexico. So traditionally, they have all had their own incentive trips. So it was in the Great Barrier Reef last year. And then Europe was in, it was in Rome. And then Punta Cana. So I could have chosen to do
Okay.
Actually, I had several friends who chose. My friend April, my friend Kelly, they chose the Europe trip. And so they did go to Europe. So that's totally a possibility. This one just happened to be a global. It's the first time we've ever had a global trip. And it's European.
Yeah.
So yeah, they'll for sure. And I think there's just, Europe is sexy and I think a lot of people really, it draws a lot of people. And so I think they'll try to figure out more ways that they can do that. I think the cruise is the best way they can do it because of the cost of, getting of Europe itself. So
yeah,
I think
my vote is Iceland.
Yeah, that would be amazing. If Orville is, he actually can speak Korean, and he was a missionary in Korea for a while. And Korea is really close to his heart. So I keep thinking like, I feel like our next country has to be Korea. He said, either vacation, I don't know. He can't send people to Korea, I don't think, but.
My husband loved it when he was there the 2 times. It was before he met me and all that stuff. So I think it was a different vibe for him, but yeah, I don't think that's ideal for anyone right now.
Well, yeah, it's
And when my husband was there, it was the World's Fair was there.
me too. I went to the World's Fair.
So did he. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It was amazing. They had this big O that was kind of funny because they called it the Big O.
Yeah.
We're like, yep, that's Koreans for you. They are all about their sexual things.
I would love to go back to Korea.
Really?
I miss it.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't my favorite culturally wise.
Mm.
It was very Korean. Korean things.
Yes.
Food.
It's hard to live in. It's hard to live, but we maximize our experience there. I love traveling around Asia. Thailand is still one of my favorite places we've ever traveled. In the Disney and Japan is the coolest Disney ever. Well, no, did you do that one? Did you do that?
I did. We did it as like Father's Day weekend. We went because I have family. My mom's Japanese, so I still have family over there. So when we went over there, I met up with my cousin.
Really?
Mhm.
That what is the water one?
The sea something, but I didn't do that.
Really? Okay, that's what was amazing. Just
Hold on.
incredible. But
Hold on.
did that answer your question at all, Megan?
Yeah.
You know, what's so cool too is when you go to these events, our home, like whether it be, world tour or reunion, our home office people are just so freaking cool, and they love us. They genuinely love us. And so you could literally just walk up to the AV people or whatever and just be like, hey, this is my major. Like, can I get in there? And they'll totally be up for that. So
my husband only has 3 years left until he retires.
Yeah.
And we've been seriously thinking about what we're going to do. And I worked for Marriott for 5 years, and my last 2 years was in events. So, like, dream board, if we're talking ultimate dream board, we would be willing to move to Boise if I could get in with home office there.
Well, that'd be so freaking cool. The the only sucky thing is not being a consultant, because
I was wondering, they don't let you do both, do they?
Nope. Then your income's capped.
It is.
And all those things that we tell ourselves are like, well, crap. But yeah,
So we'll see.
I mean, my master's is in marketing, and I worked for ad agencies for a decade, and so it would absolutely be a dream to get to work in the Cincy creative department. But and Owen keeps saying, like, well, I'd totally go to Idaho.
Yeah, but then where it stops. Like,
yeah. But there is that cap, and knowing what I know now, I'm like, well, couldn't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So
that's where, we'll see. I do, like you were talking about the highs and the lows, I really struggle with all of that. So it's something I've been working through. And this year, I feel like I'm right on the cusp of something big about to happen, like mindset wise. Like, I'm right there, but I still struggle every other day. Like, can I do this? Is this like who I am, kind of? Like, I'm right there just trying to figure out how to make it work for me, because my biggest fear is being that super spammy person. Like, and I shy away from that so much. It's starting to hurt me, because I'm not that I don't want to approach anyone, but I wait till I'm like around someone, like, hey, do you want to do this? Because I don't want to randomly message people and then think that's all that I want from them.
Yeah.
So I'm right there. So we'll see which way it goes for me.
yeah, I completely am hearing, because I was in that same spot. Because honestly, I felt for a while, especially because I was just by myself in the business for the first year and a half in Korea. I didn't do any trainings because they were in the middle of the night. I didn't go to, obviously, any events. I skipped my first incentive trip that I accidentally earned because we were in Korea. So I was completely disconnected. And my fear, it's kind of embarrassing now, was that I just thought I was a little too good for it. Like, I'm like, do you want some Cincy? By the way, you know, I have a master's in marketing, right? it was like, I mean, I'm not that kind of a person that's so vain, but I had to get over myself, and it took a long time to get there. And I think that the number one thing that you should do is read. Like, you've got to pick up some books and read. It's over to himself. Well, yes, that's a good one. This one is my favorite, probably of all time. It is, I don't know, I just like how it's so direct, and it kind of speaks to that. And then just staying connected and involved and knowing what can happen helps me sort of get away from that. Plus, I started like, okay, like, I'm not the only one that's like, it's not a whole bunch of just housewives that, you know, didn't graduate high school that are doing this. No, like, there's people that were lawyers that have quit to do Cincy. We have doctors, we have vets, we have, you know, everything. So.
I think for me, it's not so much my problem with this stigma. Like, I want to show everyone else, like, the Allison Dalkeys and the Katie Farners and you, and like this is, I can do this and still be this. Like, I feel like everyone else just has this mindset, like, oh, they're doing direct sales now. Yeah. And I realize that it's more of me figuring out how to show everyone else that without overwhelming them.
That could be sort of part of your angle of your brand messaging, is maybe you decide that your platform is going to be to, you know, raise awareness of what direct sales is. So maybe your posts aren't so much about, you know, one such way, but maybe your posts are more geared towards, you know, did you know that direct sales, blah, 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 or
yeah,
good example off the top of my head, but
I see where you're going with it, though. More of like the lifestyle and the types of people, and less about, not that I won't show the product at all, but maybe back off of that and show more of what it can be.
I think the fake it till you make it, I feel like, is so important. I remember whenever I first started, people were like, oh, you're not a director. And that made me feel really good. And I remember doing the, when I started that aha moment group, I had so many people message and was like, well, you know, such as superstar director. I'm like, oh no, like, I'm just a baby director. And I feel like that's really important, you know? So if you can sort of project yourself a few years into the future, if you can project yourself as a, you know, a star director, superstar director that is like, you know, has a name in direct sales business, and sort of put that hat on, that air can sort of help formulate those thoughts and ideas that you put out there. And again, that, you know, helps with that law of attraction. But I think some of it is, you know, it can be telling the stories like I told, you know, earlier, like, hey, my friend, my teammate, my business partner, whatever, was talking to a university professor of business that was doing research with Direct Selling Association. And she said that 100% of the time, she would tell her students to choose direct sales over being CEO of business, because it's lucrative, it's flexible. You're not going to kill yourself, and it's going to have the compound results. You're going to put your time and your energy and your focus in the beginning, but you're going to see exponential results as you go. And so sharing those kind of stories is important. And I think, you know, following the Direct Sales Association, starting to follow those types of businesses and stuff is going to be really, really good to create that foundation of brand angle that can, I think, help your mindset. And also just, I think it's just going to help your mindset. I mean, more than anything, you know, I don't know if that's helpful at all, but I feel like that could be a really good angle for you. And I don't know if you filled out that survey that I had for Firefly, But that was one of the questions I asked is I want on Firefly to have some ambassadors for particular topics. And that's one of those because I think it's really important that we pour that into the team so that we are have more of a well-rounded approach, because I feel like Sensi is a little bit higher end. We are, whatever, the high-end brand of the direct sales. Like we aren't the spammy people. We aren't the one doing the stuff that people don't like. And so we are responsible for raising the stakes and how people see direct sales. And so if that's the case, then what are those things that we can do? So brainstorm and think, like, what can I follow? What organizations can I follow? Just following the Direct Sales Association would be big. They have, a million articles. You can even feature people that maybe aren't in Sensi even. And you can feature different articles. So I was just in the military family magazine this fall or whenever. And that was a feature in there. And so you could kind of have that military angle too of, the why that makes so much sense.
You mentioned like the mindset thing. So growing up, I always swore that I would never marry anyone in the military and I would never be a stay-at-home mom. So
you know what's funny about that is that if you ask any of those like experts that write all of this stuff, what they would tell you is that your brain heard military man, whatever, what was the other one you said?
The stay-at-home mom.
Stay-at-home mom. Military man, stay-at-home mom. Look for military man. Look for stay-at-home mom opportunities.
Yeah.
So the experts would say like, I will marry a doctor. But I when me and my husband were dating, he always wanted to move to Alaska, and I was like, yeah, we'll break up if that's the case. He moved to Alaska, our first station.
Yeah.
Hi, baby. Hi, pretty baby. Hi.
Do you see her? I think you do.
Look. Hello.
Oh my goodness. Look, buddy.
Yeah, hello. Hi. What you doing?
Well, thank you, because all of that really does help a lot. So.
Okay, good. And if you ever want to chat me anytime, let me know. And if for anybody, if I don't respond right away, I'm not. I don't want to make it seem like I'm an important person or something, but I probably get 30 to 50 messages a day on Messenger from like people that have seen me on YouTube or people from other pages or whatever. And so if I ever don't respond back to anybody who's watching this, just message me again, because it's that my kids either like clicked on it or I accidentally missed it or something. So if you ever have any more questions about that, let me know, because I really believe in this opportunity. I believe that this is the most lucrative opportunity you're going to come upon. And I truly believe that any of the skill sets and gifts that we were given in any other areas can be applicable with Sensi. You just have to figure out how. And once you do that, that's when you feel like your two worlds collide. And it's like, finally you feel like, okay, now it's love, now it's marriage, now it's meant to be. So you just have to figure out, because I had that problem for a while where I was like, well, this is my love. This is where, advertising and marketing. And I loved my job and I loved to work. And then I have this Sensi thing over here that I'd never tried, when I started. So I had to figure out how to marry those two. So figure out how to marry those two. Keep reading those books with cuss words in them, because those are the best ones. Awesome. All right. Guys, I don't even know what time it is. Oh yeah, we've been on for a while. Anybody that's stuck around this long, I don't know. I talk a lot. Sorry. I had no idea what time it was. Okay, well, I will let y'all go, or otherwise we might just stay on all night. So if y'all do create some dream boards, no matter if they're fancy or not, just most simple is better. Share it with us. But remember the incentive. So post photos, videos, or live videos, and you get entered to win free stuff. Grace Adele purses and coffee and lots of other things. The more people that participate, the more prizes. So I will talk to you later. It was great to chat with everyone tonight. Love y'all. Bye.
Bye, Candy.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Bye, Amber.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Iris. Bye, Melanie. I miss your face. Bye, Ellie.
Good night.
Bye, night. Bye.